Hi, everyone. Happy Friday. This is Reviews on the Record. This is where I go over one of my 5 book club books as a review. We connect it to some of the vinyl from my collection, and then we post some questions as a community and hopefully generate some discussion. This week, I am looking at my Tri Delta book club. I love being a part of this book club. The women in it are amazing and all over in terms of where they come from and what their interests are. And about once a quarter, we highlight a Tri Delta author. So I love highlighting and supporting my sorority sisters, especially authors. And this month, we looked at Jo Piazza's The Sicilian Inheritance. And for the most part, I found this book really interesting. So we follow a woman named Sarah, who is a female butcher who had a thriving business. And because she was listening to other folks instead of kind of herself, her business goes under, her marriage kind of implodes, and she has a strained relationship with her young daughter. During this time, she also loses her aunt, who is one of the closest people to her. And in her aunt's will, she leaves this kind of quest for Sarah to take this plane ticket, go to Sicily, experience this tiny town that she's from, and to really explore her heritage. So, to understand a little bit of her family's background, and her aunt, Rosie, thinks that there's some potentially nefarious family things that happened with her mother, and she wants her to do some kind of detective work. I think that the storyline is more interesting because it goes back and forth between Sarah's story in present day and then her Rosie's mother's story, Serafina, in that same town, but in the past. And so it goes back and forth between this tiny town in present and past. And I think that part makes it really interesting. I will say I liked the past story better than the present. I found the characters more interesting, and just overall the story was better developed, I think. I really think, in terms of the um, vinyl that I wanted to tie it to, I thought of the Rocky Horror Picture Show and the Time Warp. So, this idea of going back and forth in time, kind of losing inhibition. So, Sarah feels really stifled and she doesn't really know what she wants. She doesn't have direction when she's at home. And when she comes to this tiny town and kind of lets things go and starts exploring her past and her family's history, she kind of figures out who she is and what she wants and stands up for herself. So I thought that those two things connected really well. I think overall, I would rate this book about a 3.2 out of 5. Spice level, there was some spice in there. I'd say maybe a 2 out of 5. I think character development, there was okay character development. Like I said, I liked the past, the people that were in the past story better. Sarah wasn't my favorite character, even though she was a main one. So I might say 3 out of 5 on that. I think this is still something I would read from Jo again. Definitely support another Tri Delta author. So overall, get out there and do that. I think my question to you for the community for this week is, what things in your family are you intrigued about? What are things that you would want to know more about your family history? And I think for me, my father and my aunt were both adopted, and it was a closed adoption back in the 50s. And so I don't really know anything about my father's real parents or where he comes from. So I know my kind of ethnic and genetic makeup, but I don't really know anything about his true biological family. So that's something that I definitely would want to know more about. I'd love to hear your thoughts, so please share your things in the comments and talk to you next week.